Welcome back, Tongue and Tonic community. This is Jemima here, and we are in the second recording of session 4 of mantras and affirmations. Okay, so we're getting into the body of it now. So why would you use a mantra? A mantra is your deep belief system. It's replacing or rewriting or putting new action to your deep belief system and how you would like that to run in your life. So essentially, it's giving you autonomy or sovereignty over your own actions, and it also gives you clarity on your own philosophies. And it assists you to find out then who you are. Once we start deeply looking into ourselves and who are we, which is a prominent question at the moment as the energy is drawn out of us when you look at the matrix system of the powers that are currently leaving are settled into. That system draws out energy. It requires you to label yourself to be accepted, to listen to someone else, to feel accepted or be involved, or even just be okay. If you're okay if you do this. So it's now the new earth, the whole aspect of the new earth, stepping in, the change of the vibration is the opposite to what the current system is navigating you towards. And that is, we don't take energy out in order to have clarity or find the truth. The energy comes in. We see if that resonates. We see if that's truthful for us. And then we step forward. This is the vibration of now. So we do still live in opposite worlds. So do take that with a little grain of salt when you receive information. Is this the opposite world information, or is this the truth information? Which one is it? And it's okay if you don't know. It's okay if your clarity is not there. It's okay if you feel confused. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay to be confused, because when you're in confusion, you could either go, oh, I need an answer, I'm spiraling out of control. Or you could take a deep breath, quite a few deep breaths. You could use some scent. You could regain your composure and just understand that it's okay. It's okay to be a little bit confused. It's okay not to know how to move forward. It's okay to take some time to make a decision, to take some time to understand how you're feeling before you step forward. That's okay. So this rush is non-purposeful for your spiritual growth. You do need to take it in. Take your moments to be calm. Make space to go through a discovery of yourself and your own belief systems and how you truly want to be stepping forward and how you truly see yourself. Because this is a complete look at, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to step forward as the best version of yourself when you're looking at mantras and you're reorganizing your conditioning, sitting with your deep philosophies. And your deep philosophies, when deep philosophies come from judgment of others, then you're sitting in that outside world, finding the answer outside of ourselves. If you're confusion and you're sitting there and you're coming to this point of you accept yourself, you're allowing yourself to sit in your peace, and you're allowing yourself to gain clarity. This is you're sitting in the new earth, this new aspect of the self, this more 4D, 5D stepping forward. We're accepting ourselves. We're okay with that. We're okay with not knowing the answer. We're okay with sitting in a bit of confusion. We're calm. We're centered. And then we're moving forward whenever you're ready. I mean, how long's a piece of string? Just because somebody else does something doesn't mean that you also need to do it at that moment. I think we all learned that at school, but I'm not sure that everybody locked that in. Or maybe that was conditioned out of you through your workplace. Who knows? It was your choice to step into that workplace. So that's the point where you need to take responsibility and then decide on your steps forward. Is everything a decision for you? Is the word decision have a negative connotation? Do you need to change some of your wording when you're thinking about your mantras or thinking about yourself or thinking about how it is you even step into a decision. I was having this conversation last night with the beautiful Jade, and I was saying that for me, in my mind, when I am thinking about a decision, it's not a decision for me. It's which adventure would I like to take? Because every choice is an adventure. Every choice will give you an expansion. Some adventures are pretty treacherous and difficult. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings. That was an adventure, but it was a really challenging one. We also have those in our lives that doesn't make it a non-adventure. It's still an adventure, whether it's a really super hard adventure or whether it's a super easy, enjoyable, and we're having a great time adventure. You can apply that good time or that positivity to any aspect of your life, as long as you're sitting in that belief system and it's part of your conditioning. So how do you change that to sit in a more positive aspect of yourself? Well, I learned a technique from Hawaiian Huna about 12 years ago now, from the beautiful Anik, who I met in Koh Tao. She might still be there in the bottle house. She's just divine. And she came to Australia and she stayed with us, and we ended up doing a course with her on Hawaiian Huna. And this is something that I've carried with me for the last 12 years and practiced on pretty much a daily basis for the last 12 years. So the principles of Hawaiian Huna are very similar to the principles of NLP. And in fact, NLP has pretty much been taken from Hawaiian Huna, and they've just taken out a couple of things. So your first principle, there's 7 principles of Hawaiian Huna. I'm just going to read them out to you. You've got Ike. The world is what you think it is. Kala. There are no limitations. Everything is possible. Makia. Energy flows where attention goes. You know that one. Manawa. Now is the moment of power. Now is the only moment, realistically. Aloha. To love is to be happy. Mana. Power comes from within. Pono. Effectiveness is the measure of truth. So I've utilized these 7 principles of the Huna in my daily life. So the first one is the one that pertains to manifestation or affirmations. Like, the world is what you think it is. So if the world is what you think it is, then that is pertaining to you. That comes back to you as the central character, the central figure. So therefore you have an ability to create what you want. If the world is what you think it is, then what you think creates the world. Does that make sense to you? Please let me know in the comments. Okay, so when you're looking at what you think the world is, that comes into what are you manifesting? What are you putting out there? What energy are you putting into that? How are you speaking to yourself? Because if it's what you think it is, it's part of your internal deep programming. So the world will only change when you've decided it changes. I have a lot of people that come into the shop, and we have a lot of conversations. Most people that come into the shop know that we love a good chat in the shop, and we love a good spiritual conversation. And so when we are sitting and chatting in the shop, you know, some people say, well, I haven't seen the change. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen that. I said, but have you looked? Have you looked for all the possibilities? If you live in a big city like I do, I mean, Melbourne, a little big city, all the opportunities are there. You really just need to search it up or welcome into someone into your auric field or into your life that has this information, and that you have the ability to listen to them then and take and absorb that information. Potentially all these options are there for you. Are you in a headspace to welcome it in, able to absorb it, even listen and hear what people have to say and the opportunities that they have to offer? Are you? It's a question to ask yourself, because it is about the world that you make for yourself. So for me, I see a large amount of opportunities. We just spent, the Sunday with people that are well aware of the changes, that are stepping in, that are making changes. Darren from My Place Frankston, he's quite incredible. I'm not sure if anybody has heard him speak, but I've heard him speak quite a few times. and he's really doing something. He's really getting things moving. And he's not paid by anyone. He's not paid by the government. He's doing it on his own steam. And people are rallying around him. It's magnificent. I see the same thing in our Elstonwick community. When we make changes, people rally this. They're throwing support behind us. Like there's this real energy and this real movement. And if you would like to be a part of that, you need to bring that into your field. You need to bring it into your manifestation. You need to bring it into your awareness to really step in, have the courage to step in, have the courage to step forward, and accept yourself in your stepping forward momentum. Okay, so when you're looking at your inner programs, have you looked at them before? What do they look like? So when you're looking at your inner programs and your inner conditioning, it is important to go and have some kind of talk therapy or be a good communicator. So if you've had any of those therapies, it's sort of a good reflection to then go back to those moments, replay some of the sessions that you might have had, and have a think about your roadblocks that you've had, your challenges that you've had through life. And then think about, okay, well, I had that challenge through my life. If I took responsibility for that moment, so have a look at the challenges of when you're adults. A lot of conditioning does happen when we're children, but as adults, we have the capacity to then take responsibility for that and make the changes. As a child, we're still learning, we're still growing. It's the time to step in when you're an adult. So as you're an adult, how do we step in? How do we step into these deep changes? Yes, a lot of deep conditioning happens through the school system. A lot of deep conditioning happens from unconscious parenting. Sometimes you're so full up with life and busyness and paying the bills that you're sort of doing things on automatic pilot. And that's really, it allows our children space and time to process and think on their own. But unconscious parenting also starts to instill programs that you may not want to instill into your children. So busyness, stress, all of those outside financial burdens, whatever it is that the current matrix system is forcing upon you to take your energy away from working out what your deep conditioning is, to then step in and provide that for your family, friends, loved ones, or people that you support, is an important note. So slowing down to seek to really review what your conditioning may be. Sometimes most things we do automatically because of our conditioning. So how do you want to step in? So if you were thinking about your conditionings, I think is the beginning of. So I think things should be like this. I think the world is round. So I'm going to look for all of the things that I'm going to look for all of the information or articles that support my view, my belief system, so that I can lock that belief system in and step forward through life. And if somebody turns around and says the earth is flat, I have all my research and my belief system to back up that the world is round. So these are part of our deep belief systems. Maybe one of your deep belief systems are that families need to stay together to benefit the children. And I'm going to look up every piece of information, and I'm going to welcome all those people into my life that also believe the same thing, so I can stay housed in my belief system. My belief system is backed up. And I can move forward, and I'm going to disregard all the other information and all the other people that are on that other area. So therefore my world becomes this through my belief system that is my world. So when you are changing your belief systems, you often lose or change or progress or graduate through friends. Relationships change, and this can be quite disheartening, saddening for some people. It is important to then look at the opportunity that you step into, which is new friendships, new ways to be, being introduced to other people that think or feel or act in a different and new way, something that's out of your current thought pattern, perspective, or way of life. When we start to sit in this aspect of respecting and accepting all people, whether you think the earth is round, whether you think the earth is flat, like, I'm happy to listen to you, that's cool, I'm going to decide for myself, but I don't need to be surrounded by simply the people that believe the earth is round in order to feel okay. Once you're sitting in that aspect of, I am with my truth, I am with my acceptance, and I'm okay also when that changes. That's not locked in forever. My children pull me up, that, oh, but you didn't believe that a year ago. It's like, well, I've changed, I've progressed, I've thought about things, I've sat on it, and I have the ability to change. I'm not set in stone. No belief is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. We live in this world of rolling and expanding and changing energy. And that is just the way it is. Nothing is stagnant, stops. I mean, there were certainly moments when my children got to a certain age and I thought, let's just stop them here. They're absolutely perfect. But it will not happen that way. It's your job to then take that snapshot and keep that with you for your own expansion and growth and knowledge and beautiful memories. They need to grow, they need to change, they need to progress, just like we have, and we had the opportunity to do as a young child blossoming into an adult. Okay, so then once you've had a look at what your deep programs are, once you have a bit more of an understanding of who you are, then you can start stepping into, what do I need to change? So first, you do need to acknowledge first who I am. Who are you? Who are you? What is your deep pattern? What is something that is on repeat through your life? Perhaps the collective really is boundaries at the moment. Boundaries seem to be on repeat, and boundaries do need to be nice and solidified if you're going to step forward. I mean, if all of your communication sits on the outside of your orb or your auric field, ready to then pass on. So if you're telepathic, you'd be able to read what's on the edge of the orb. That's also through your belief systems, because we act through our belief systems. So all of that information is there. So if you have no boundaries, where is that information? Where is it sitting? Is it fragmented around your auric field? Where is it? So yes, so the collective is boundaries. So let's go with the collective for now. And then if you have further questions, please let us know in the comments and I can address them. So if you're thinking about boundaries. Okay, so boundaries. So we're coming up to assess our boundaries. So what is our awareness of our own boundaries before we step forward? What's our awareness? What's our understanding of those boundaries? What are some examples of how you step into those boundaries? Think about a scenario. Have a think about what happened the last time you had great boundaries and what happened the last time your boundaries were, challenged, stepped over. I mean, how far do you want to go? Like, you can go to the worst case scenario of your boundaries and correct it from there. Or you can look at what's the best case scenario of my boundaries and then state that as your benchmark and go from your expansion from there. So you can really do it from either or. And when we're looking at Hawaiian Huna, NLP, you can go back to the first time that, your boundaries were stepped over and then replace it with the new program, because whatever you take out, you must put in, must be replaced. You cannot take a program out without replacing it. If you take a program out, there's no replacement. It's empty space. The old program just kind of slides back in. just like someone that you're trying to move out of your life, and then they just kind of ignore, and then they slowly come back in. But if you've replaced it with that person, that's it's time to say goodbye, the contract is over, and I'm now making space for another human being to step into my life, then it is, or I'm stepping in for myself. I no longer need that person stepping over my boundaries. I myself am stepping forward to assert my boundaries and treat myself well so that other people know how to treat me. I'm being an inspiration for myself. And generally, and that comes up to the point of action. So you've got awareness, contemplation, and understanding, and then action, and then reflection and gratitude. So then you're stepping into the action. I'm actioning positive boundaries for myself. I'm actioning that. I'm actioning those verbal words for myself so that I am an inspiration to others. And everything needs to start with the self anyway, because there is only you and those that you have contracts and agreements with. But essentially, it's only you, and you will be treated however you treat yourself. We do have people within our lives, though, that also show us kindness, show us inspiration, and they are in our lives for a reason. And we do have contracts with them for a reason. Not everyone has these contracts, but many of us do, because at the end of the day, source, light, the universal truth is coming from kindness. It is coming from love. It is coming from acceptance. It's not coming from cruelty, wrath, fire, all that other rubbish that's been made up. You have to let it go. We truly, to move into the 4 and 50 reality, it's important to start stepping into kindness. It's important to start understanding and evaluating for yourself that acceptance is your movement forward, is the vibration. Love is the vibration. And we first need to give those to ourselves. So how are we going to do that for ourselves when we're looking at our boundaries and we're assessing those? So first, the awareness of our boundaries. Honestly, I'm an empath, always have been. Terrible boundaries. My whole life, I've worked on it for probably the last 10 years or so, my boundaries, and I'm really only starting to get great at it recently. So we are all struggling and we are all moving through. By all means, I have no perfection. I will never claim to be a perfectionist, just like I am not your guru. You are your own guru. Okay, so we're looking at boundaries. So for me, as an empath, I was very much a pleaser. I would think beyond myself. I think that other people deserve this, and I will show them how I treat them, and then I expect that in return. So this is our program that many of us have instilled upon us, and this is a conditioned program that's come from school. I'm going to treat that person with kindness, and then they will reflect that back to me. It was a good try, but realistically, it's opposite world, remember? So this program has come from opposite world, and I had to become aware of that so that then I could change that for myself. So instead, my programming for myself, because, oh wait, I'm going to go back. So as I was pleasing everybody else and expecting that in return, and then not receiving that in return because I had stepped beyond my own comfort level to assist others, which was first of all draining for myself. And then also when that wasn't returned to me directly, I was a bit pissed off. Well, excuse my language. I was a bit annoyed. So, being annoyed, that was then messing up my chi. It was messing up my flow. It was messing up my way forward of being. It was messing with my health. It was messing with my energetic health, and it was messing with my physical health as well. So how did I step in to change that? I took it. I remembered that we lived in opposite world, and I was like, right, okay, so what do I need to do? I need to bring it back to me. I need to start treating me the way I want other people to treat me. And then I will naturally treat them that way as well, because that's who I am. But if I'm filling my own cup and I'm treating myself well. I'm doing things for myself. I'm making sure that my cup is full and that then I'm able to, of course, help others. I feel a sense of, well, I'm okay. I'm okay to do, actually, so I'll give you an example of how I changed that for myself. So with my own family, I feel that there's a sense of duty. I think we all do with our family. There's a sense of what needs to be done and then what can I do? So instead of thinking what what can I do? Like, what do I have the capacity to do? I would always think, well, the family needs me to do this, which was really my own thought pattern anyway. I mean, some of it might have come from family and conditioning and what is expected within a family, but I feel like quite a bit was just my own decision. Like I need to do this because other people will judge me, and whether they do or they don't is of no consequence because that's their reality. It's not really to do with you. It only affects you when you consider that with your actions. Does that make sense to you? I'll just repeat that a bit. So the judgment of others only affects you when it is part of your own belief system. I must do this, otherwise I will be judged. So whether that person is judging you in that way or another way, it doesn't really matter because it's only coming from you, from your own mirror, from your own existence, from your own center, from your own auric field, from your own encapsulation of your own reality. So I was going along with my family. They came down. It's always great. It's always so great to see them. I did notice that, my parents ask, are you able to do this? And previously in the past, I would always say, yes, yes, absolutely. Of course I am. And then later I'd be like getting a bit annoyed, like, oh, well, they don't really care. And or they've I've wasted my time here. Yeah. So I'm reflecting in a negative way. And then that puts a negative impact, negative energy into the whole situation. So, recently when my folks came down and was, seeing family, it's always very busy. So I had it in my own, I was prepared. I had it in my own makeup right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit to things if I'm going to be okay with them. I'm going to look at the breakdown. If I commit to that, I need to have enough energy to commit to that. I need to feel like I have enough time. And when I do perform or commit to that task, I'm going to do it in a calm, patient way. I'm going to make sure that have enough energy, patience, and enough enjoyment for the adventure of that request. And if I feel that I'm not going to have enough enjoyment or energy, or I just feel that it's going to end up and I'm going to get very cranky afterwards, then I'm going to say, no, thank you. Or I can do that at a later date. Or perhaps when you come down next time, we can do that. So I stepped into all of that a while ago, and I noticed that there was quite a bit of shifting in amongst my family. People were not quite sure how to fully accept the changes in me. But because I was very calm, because everything that I had decided to step into as part of the boundaries that I had decided to assert for myself, which is my boundary was I need to come forward with, happy to be in service. Check in with myself. Am I happy to do this? Do I have the space and capacity to do this? Am I going to feel, happy and relaxed to do this? Am I able to sit in my patience and my compassion and my love and my kindness, for myself, and then secondarily for everyone else as I step in? So I'm not looking to receive anything back from it. And that's key with stepping into boundaries. I'm not looking to receive anything back. And then so whatever I do receive back from that at any moment in time, whether it's immediate or whether it's later, I feel grateful for that. Like I feel happy. I feel enlightened, excited about it. But mostly I just feel very grateful that that energy has been returned to me. And the first time we stepped into that, there was, yeah, as I was saying, like a little bit of shifting and changing around that aspect, and a little bit of understanding or feeling that something is changing for everyone else. I didn't need to communicate what I was doing. I just needed to maintain a very consistent vibration or energy. I needed to stay peaceful. I needed to stay grounded, and I needed to stay okay with sharing myself, sharing my energy, sharing my whatever it is that I was asking to do to step in at that time. There were a couple of hurdles that I had, and it became more and more obvious as I stepped in with that new programming that I had decided for myself, for my boundaries. So then when I was not addressing my own boundaries, it was like it was in neon lights. Beep, beep, you forgot to take care of yourself. So you're getting frustrated, you're getting a little bit angry. It's okay. Calm down and step into your needs. And then every time I stepped into my needs, I was satiated, I was okay, I was all relaxed again. And then I was able to then assess the situation. I wasn't upset with myself, didn't give myself a hard time, didn't berate myself. I forgave myself. I forgive you. And now I'm going to address those needs. So I forgive you. Now I'm stepping in. I forgive you. It's okay. You're doing a great job. You're still learning. You're still stepping in. Great job. Step in. It's going to be okay. Come back to your needs. And so subsequent visits with my family have been completely different. The energy's changed. It's a much more relaxed environment. Everybody seems to be more so just energetically stepping into what they can and they can't do. And I also feel much better about that. I feel less, well, I wish they had stepped into that. I'm just not in that frame anymore. Now, whenever my family steps in, I'm just very grateful. I'm very grateful that they have the capacity, that they're able to step forward in that way for me, and very, very, very thankful. And so it's changed my whole perspective on how to live my life with boundaries. I feel it was most easy for me to step into that aspect with my family, because my family is very, very accepting. I mean, I've always been seen as the black sheep, the weirdo, the whatever. I accept that. I accept who I am. I think I'm unique. I'm an individual, and my family have always supported me in that way. So when I was working on my boundaries and working on changing my boundaries, for me, you got to go to the easiest scenario to start with, and that was really my family, because their deep acceptance of me is unflagging. It is blanket acceptance. So to the core of who I am, and I'm very, very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful to be in that situation. So which situation do you have acceptance in? It's good to first start to assert your boundaries in that situation. If you have an amazing friend, amazing friendship group, start to slowly assert your boundaries. If you have a very communicative friendship group, communicate what you're doing. Maybe you might want to all work on it together. Step in together. Perhaps it's within your family unit. Step in within your core family unit. I'm looking at my parents, but potentially looking and speaking to your children in this way and requesting that they step into their boundaries will also help them at school a lot, or really wherever they are, in whichever situation they are, because as the parent, you are the leader, you're the inspirator of their daily lives. So have a think about how that affects your life and how you can start to step in if boundaries is your thing. So once you have asserted and decided what you would like to change within your life, then we step into how do we change that? So once you've decided what your deep conditioning is, then how do you walk forward with that? what roadblocks may you have to step forward. For me, when I'm looking at the example of boundaries, really the only roadblock was myself. I stepped forward in all sorts of ways that people were grateful for, or people accepted or were helpful for their journey. However, it wasn't helpful if I came forward with conditions on that, which weren't there before. So I'm changing my conditioning because I'm not receiving what I wanted from the commitment that I had decided to outlay for someone else in terms of boundaries. So as a practitioner as well, early in my days of being a practitioner, I was trying to do everything for everyone, which wasn't helping anyone. And then when people were not able to step in, or maybe it just wasn't the time that they were ready to step in, I'd just be like, oh, well, I've put all my effort in and they haven't stepped in. Well, it's like, wow, that's, you really got to look at that. And I had to really reflect on myself, about myself, and to myself. It's like, how do you want to step forward? How do you want to encourage people to be responsible for themselves? And how does that look? And so I did have to step into that at a very right from the beginning, because if I had continued to have zero boundaries as a professional, I would have been burnt out within 5 or 6 years. And I definitely went through periods of burnout, because when we have a lower energetic vibration in ourselves because we're worn out, or we're tired, or we've been energetically bashing ourselves. You're no good, you're not doing a good job. So when we're giving ourselves bad or negative, or just ear bashing scenarios going on, inner talk, your inner voice. So when your inner voice is really, really saying nasty things, like becomes your own bully. If you become your own bully, how can you move forward? How can you have enough energy? And how can you ever help anyone else? Because you first need to help yourself. You first need to get on top of what you're saying to yourself, how you're saying to yourself, how you're treating yourself, and how you're stepping into that. And yes, you can override that voice, but is that your authentic self you're stepping into? And when you're holding up a mask, so your inner voice is saying terrible things, but on outwardly you're communicating really super positivity, it comes across as really unauthentic. And as the veil comes down, as we're stepping into that fourth and fifth dimensional space, people will just be like, oh, you're actually lying. So it's great that you're saying this positive stuff, but it feels false. And why is that? Why does that feel false? Oh, okay, because you're not really saying that to yourself. You're saying something else to yourself, and then you're trying to repeat what the positive of what people are saying, and stepping into that aspect of yourself. That's confusing. And at the end of the day, it's a lie. So truly, who are you? Who is your authentic self? And if your authentic self and the things that you are saying to yourself are words or feelings or actions that you wouldn't wish on anyone, then there's time to change. It's time to start making the change. How do you make that change? Okay, let's step into that. Mantras are best when they're said face to face. So at the moment, it's taken me a long time to get to this point, to really, I'm watching myself as I'm talking. I'm looking at myself. There's only me right now. I'm much used to talking to people one-on-one or large groups or classes. I'm not used to looking at myself. And it took me a really long time to get to this position where I can actually talk to myself and feel comfortable about it. And I do feel comfortable now, which is flipping amazing. I really never thought I would get to this point. So go me. And that is authentic, because that is where I am, and lay it all down. It's good. It's always good to be in that position of sitting in your most authentic self. So I'm able to look at myself as I'm talking, because I have done a large amount of mantras in the mirror. Probably I've been doing mantras for it'd be at least 20 years that I've been looking at myself and talking to myself in the mirror. It's very, very important. there was this aspect of, oh, you're crazy if you talk to yourself in the mirror. Again, we live in opposite world. Disregard, disregard, disregard. It's very important to eyeball yourself. It's very important to talk to yourself, because if you are looking at yourself and speaking to yourself and realizing that, wow, I'm not sure what I'm saying is actually true, then you're getting into your deep programming. You're getting in there to see your deep conditioning, and you can change that. You have the ability to change anything within you to step forward. You have the ability to change whatever is within you, deep within you, to step forward as you see fit, as you choose to. Be your own inspiration, be your own guru. That's what, be your own sovereign self, be your biggest supporter, be your greatest love. If you can be your greatest love and truly be one with yourself, the person that walks in to stand beside you is also going to be incredible, because you are incredible. You believe you're incredible. And so therefore you know that you deserve someone incredible. And as you start to change the people that are in your life, the right person will walk in. They will be as amazing as you. And there is often moments in relationships that we look at the other person and we think, oh, they stopped growing. When did they stop growing? And I can only now grow so far because they stopped growing, and I can only grow so far then with them. And then I need to then expand on my own. Imagine if you were in your full expansion and somebody walked in, or perhaps you chose that person that is growing with you, which is amazing, incredible. If you've nailed that, share it with us. Be proud of that. Step in. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to step into the gratitude for yourself and to share that with others, because not everyone is having a hard time. Not everyone is struggling. A lot of people are, but a lot of people are actually nailing it as well. It's important to share those stories of how you got to the point where you're nailing it, because they're the stories that people will resonate with, or it will help them, or be inspirational, or help them to step up and step into themselves. And potentially your story could be very similar to what someone else is going through, and that could be of a great assistance. So coming back to mantras. So deeply eyeballing yourself in the mirror. Deeply. I love you. You are worthy. I accept you. I am supported. The universe supports me, and I truly step into that power. What is it that is holding you back? What is it? What is it when you look in the mirror and you go through all of those positive emotions? So yeah, if you're seeking your mantra, am I looking away? I love you. I think you're great. You're amazing. You're beautiful. What do you, when you start to go through, write some things down for yourself that you would like to step into. I am worthy of da, 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 the job, the person. I am deserving of a great love because I deeply love myself. Can you look at yourself? Can you eyeball yourself in the mirror and say those things to yourself? Go through your list, whatever you're struggling with at the moment. So the boundaries. I truly step into when I have the time and space. I am ready to step into life. I am ready to assert my boundaries, even in the times that are tough. I put myself first so that then I can truly be there wholly and solely to assist others, and then also be grateful for the energy that comes back towards me. Where are you? Where do you sit? What challenge do you need to step into? So with your mantras, just choose one. Because if you're giving yourself too many things, potentially you're that person that gives yourself too many things and then berates yourself when you only get half the list done, which is also really unhelpful, by the way. So start to step into being grateful for the things that you have achieved each day, and it'll be far easier to achieve more things in a day. Yeah. Be happy, be grateful, be forgiving with yourself. So what are you stepping into with your boundaries? First, you need to make sure that you're okay. Looking in the mirror, I'm okay. Maybe you start to burst into tears because you're actually not okay. Great, you've hit the nail on the head. You know, when you go, and I don't know if you've had a reading, I've had a lot of readings and I've given a lot of readings. So yeah, that moment when somebody starts to, the tears come, the emotion comes, the vulnerability hits in, it means that deep program, you're not addressing that deep program for yourself. And that's something that needs to be addressed. So you can do that and go to a reading or go to a psychology session or a talk session and discuss these things, and wait till you hit that moment of vulnerability, that you feel that it's not enough. And that's the moment where you feel, oh, my cup needs to be filled. That's when you pop your mantra in. So what is that moment? Have you reached that moment yet? If you have not reached that moment, if you have not been to talk therapy, or if you've not, you know, potentially maybe you don't have a friendship group that discusses these things, it's time to discuss them with yourself. Look in the mirror, have that discussion with yourself. What are the points where you look away? What are the points when you're having a conversation with yourself that you are brought to tears? What are the points where you've got a frog in your throat and you're not able to speak? That needs to be addressed. What program is that? Why are you not able to step into that? Ask those questions. Not enough. Why aren't you able to step into that? You so and so. No, let's leave that be. Let's leave that at the door. Oh, let's leave that really in the garbage heap, because it's completely of no use whatsoever. Okay, so when am I looking away? When am I becoming a bit upset? Okay, that's something I need to address. That's something I need to be on point with. That's something that needs to be on repeat. And with your mantra, you can write it on your bathroom. A lot of people write it on their bathroom mirror. You can make it your password. You can pop it in your wallet. You know, you could pop it on the back of your phone. I've seen a lot of people print out their mantras or write their mantras and pop them on the back of their phone so that they're seeing them all the time. It is important to see it all the time. It's important to it to be part of the fabric of your living, of your day-to-day, of your existence. It's like within that fabric. It's something that you keep seeing and repeating to yourself. And then when you have an opportunity, you look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror and you speak your mantra, you know that if it has locked in or not. Because if you can eye gaze with yourself, if you can engage with yourself, and if you're able to do that on a repetitive nature, it is then part of your new conditioning. And you can move forward. Once it is part of your new conditioning, you will start to see it play out in your life. Situations will start to change. So this is the point where we need to reflect. So it's easy then to close your eyes and just continue on with your busyness of your life. I'm just moving forward now. But it's very, very important to stop, reflect. How is that changing in my life? Gosh, I'm so grateful for that change. Gosh, I'm doing a great job. You know, how often do you look in the mirror and say to yourself, you are doing a great job, not you're beautiful, like that whatever I've put on my surface is beautiful. It seems to be what mirrors have become. Potentially Snow White is in trouble for that. The mirror on the wall is all about the most 3D and superficial of us all. Do we want to step into that, or do you want to know or use a mirror for what it's actually used for, is to speak to your deep aspect of your soul and to recondition your aspect of your whole entire self. That's what it's for. It's to truly see yourself. Do you see yourself and look beyond what you see and truly see yourself? Because the avatar or the temple that you have arrived in may be no reflection at all to your soul, or it may be a reflection to your soul, and you may have chosen that avatar or temple for a reason. And you have the ability to change this temple or avatar. A lot of people change as they grow up or as they grow into themselves. That is evident 100%. What you change on the outside is only a shadow aspect of yourself. It's truly what you see within. And that's what mirrors are truly for. They're truly to see what is deep within me. And how do I look for that? Well, I need to eye gaze with myself. I need to spend time with myself. I truly need to see myself unfold like a beautiful flower. And when I do see those aspects in myself, how do I speak to myself? Do I say that I'm doing a great job? Like, reflection is part of your process of learning and growth. It's important not to sit in the past, yes, but it's also important to reflect on the past so that you can be the best version of yourself stepping forward to the next day, to the present moment. And how does that happen? It happens with reflection. It has to happen with reflection. If you're waiting for other people to reflect, oh, you're doing such a great job, oh, you're stepping in, then that does happen, but it's like you pay less attention to it. But then when you're telling yourself, doing a great job, good job, you're really progressing forward, then when people actually do speak that as well, you hear it, it's heard. But if you're ignoring it in yourself, or you're not giving it to yourself, when people give it to you, it's actually, it's glossed over, it's let go, it's in the back, it's background noise. But when you're putting it front and center to yourself, those comments become more resonant to you. They're addressing, they're giving clarity on how well you are doing moving forward. Are you receiving those comments as truth? From the outside, as you start to step in, are you receiving those comments as truth, or are they background noise? Has your mom or dad or friends or colleagues or employees or employer or just general public, are they saying things you actually, do you see that as true, or you just see that as how other people perceive me? So if you're simply feeling, oh, that's just how people perceive me, then you're really not kicking your own, you're really not filling your cup. You're really not saying, well done, good job. You're waiting for other people to fill it, but it's actually, it doesn't feel so well unless you're being involved as well. So if you're like, yeah, I'm on my team, I'm doing a great job, then when people say it, you're like, yeah, look, that's affirmation. But, if you're not giving that to yourself and you're just like, yeah, I'm focused, like I'm on my conditioning, I'm changing things, I'm doing a great job. Oh, that person said I'm doing a great job. Yeah, that's good, but I really need to see more of it for myself. Yeah, so you're really not really sitting in the, wow, I'm really doing the best that I can. You're still challenging yourself. You're still trying to push yourself. So make sure that you're filling your own cup. Make sure that you're filling your own cup. Make sure that you're filling your own cup. That's a little mantra for you. Make sure that you're filling your own cup, because when you fill your own cup, other people echo that around you. And you then have the ability to hear that when you're sitting in the positive, when you're sitting in that aspect of yourself that is ready to receive or accept yourself as who you are and where you're at. So you can do that with mirror work, very, very important. And I just feel that's an essential with mantra work, full stop. If you are still having a bit of a struggle town with that, add in some tools, add in some scent, add in scent that makes you feel amazing, that brings you back to childhood when things were free, or makes, like maybe you went traveling, or, maybe it's just your happy place. If you bake or cook, burn some or smell some vanilla or cinnamon, or perhaps you grew up, you love the outside. Think about your floral smells, your earthy smells, your nature smells. Use those to help draw you into the essence of yourself. Crystals also are very, very helpful. You can program crystals to help you do whatever it is that you want to do. They're amplifiers, they help you navigate, they clear spaces, they clear negative energies. Step in, go on that journey. You may surprise yourself. We do have a little philosophy in the store of when people come in to choose their crystals. I very much encourage people to take responsibility for that. Take some nice deep breaths, see what you're drawn to. Whatever you're drawn to is correct for you. And then you read the card and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's exactly That completely resonates. Of course it does, because you chose for yourself, because you are your own guru. And the more you step into that, the more that you know what is right for you. You know what you need to step into deep in your own world, without any of this chatter from the outside, without any knowledge from someone else. You have the ability. And with our mantras and with our affirmations, we're truly stepping into our self-truth, so that when we step forward, when we speak to people, it feels authentic, it seems authentic, it lands authentically, and it's reflected upon you that it is authentic, because what you're saying to others, you are saying to yourself. And that program can never be broken. It can only be honored. And that may take some time to shift and change around you, but it will. That's the program that is this. There's no way that wall can come down when you truly back and support yourself. When you're speaking from your inner truth, the authenticity is the longest standing emotion, boundary, energetic orb that is. When you stand in your truth, when you stand in your with what you received from when you are without a temple, which is kindness and acceptance and love and inner truth. And when you sit within that and you express that when you are in an incarnation, when you are with the temple, when you are with your avatar, or whatever you frame it to be, if you step forward within that truth, your matrix, your system, your manifestations, and your flow will be how you want it to be. Can you make that happen? Yes, you can. Coming back to first your decision of which program that you want to change. Yeah, so we use the example of boundaries today. Okay, then have a look at different situations, scenarios. I went through with my family and how I addressed it in that way. You're changing anything that you're changing, you're doing in the most comfortable environment first, unless you're someone that's choosing the most challenging environment to start with. That's just, I prefer to be kind and gentle to myself. So that's how I step forward. I step forward in that comfortable environment. That's just part of my conditioning that I've decided to walk forward as. I've decided that I wanted to walk forward in peace. I've decided that I want to walk forward with deep kindness to myself. Whenever I choose an adventure or make a decision, it is which one is going to be most kind to myself, and I have enough energy for expansion, or maybe I am lacking in energy. So I'm choosing kindness to myself, peace, and I'm just choosing something that's of a slow nature of growth rather than the fast-paced nature of growth. So really deciding what pathway that you choose to go on, because everything is your choice, your adventure. And different consequences, actions, challenges come from each adventure that we choose, positive or what's seemingly negative. But usually the most negative things have a large level of expansion and growth for us. Do I choose that expansion and growth for this pathway, or do I choose a softer, kinder approach? I certainly chose the more challenging when I was younger, and now I am older. I'm choosing something that is much kinder, and then I'm choosing kinder, and centered up. My growth is actually faster, but also slower at the same time. So it's definitely kinder and softer, and um, well, it's the way that I've chosen to navigate it, because whatever I believe and whatever attention I put towards things is true, is happening, is part of my matrix, and is part of what I see, and is part of the way I step forward in my reality amongst my family, friends, peers, my children. So you're stepping in. How am I going to step into my mantra, affirmation? Am I going to use scent? Am I going to use other tools? Do I actually need some, am I actually really, did I recognize now that I'm really tired and I don't have the capacity to move forward on my own? That's the point where you reach out for support. Go and see go and see the person that you trust the most. Go and see the person that you resonate with the most. Potentially sit down and do a meditation, just one person's name, keep repeating and coming up. Go and see that person, or go and touch base with that person. Maybe they have information to help you on your pathway to feeling better, to feeling that you are in the space and capacity to then make a choice of which direction that you would like to go in. You don't always need to make a choice directly, immediately. We spoke about that. Take your time to make your decision. Nothing is imminent. Your life is not fleeting. That's, again, that's opposite world. Life is never ending. It's never ending to the point that you want it to be. Yeah. We are just in each different avatar, how long do you want to spend in this avatar? It is up to you. You do have the ultimate decision and choice. That's for another day though. So it is good to reflect upon, and it is good to then move forward from that point. If you're getting stuck on a certain point and you have an inability to move forward, how do I move forward from that point? How do I come out of the loop? Well, potentially have a listen to some of our other, I think it was the second or the third, the second session on how to get out of your loop, how to forgive yourself, and how do you step out of that. Maybe have a listen to that one if you're sitting on that point, because it is important to come out of that loop. Can I help myself, or do I need help from others? It's an important question to ask yourself. And if you need support and help from others, go and seek that support. But as you're seeking that support, remember that you're only looking for the answers that give you the clarity and truth in yourself. No one truly has the answers for you. They're just simply reminding you or providing you with tools that you need to remember how to use, that you may have collected over another lifetime. They might be completely new to you, tools that are new to you, but you must resonate with these tools in order for them to be able to work for you. And it is important to step into that. Anyone that's been recently diagnosed with an on the spectrum situation generally are people that are only receiving the truth that is true to them. And that's okay. That's not a danger to our society. That's just simply you're only receiving the truth of the vibration of the universe, and that's okay. Truly okay. And you're only able to step forward with the truth as well. Be mindful of shaming yourself and shaming others, judging yourself and judging others, because that will lead you nowhere. Okay, so then we're reflecting. Once I've settled on my mantra, once I've solidified, once I'm removing my roadblocks, once I've received assistance from myself or from others, or clarity for myself from others, which has been very helpful as I step forward, then I'm now reflecting, how does my matrix, or how does my world look that I'm manifesting? Has it changed? That's the first thing. Has it changed? Is it changing? Am I feeling better in this change? Because when you're stepping into a mantra, you're reprogramming. You've got to give yourself first 6 weeks to really step into that program. And then once you've reached your 6-week mark or your 21-day mark, it's different for everyone. Or once you feel that it's completely solidified and locked in, when you've been saying it over and over again, and it's locked in, I've got it. I'm looking at myself and I'm 100% sure that we're getting there. We're on the same point. Oh, we get this. We're there. We made it. Now I can move on. I can move forward, and I can step into the new, and I can also reflect. So I'm then reflecting. I'm reflecting on, has my life changed? Do I feel better about myself? Am I ready to step into the next change, or do I want to sit with this one for a while? You might just want to sit in the glory of your change, and that's okay. In fact, that's wonderful if you can sit and really feel great about who you are and how you're stepping in, and you can really be okay with being in the limelight for yourself in that moment. This is amazing. It's an incredible space to be in, and you're going to attract different people into your life. And that may also be the time, that may be the time that you're drawing in new people, and that's just how it is, and that's the phase or time that you're in. And that's wonderful. Remember to sit in your own wonderfulness. Remember to sit in your own, effects of how well you're doing. And we celebrate ourselves if we have a good work event, or if we reach some kind of milestone at work, or if you have, you expand your family, that's a celebration. Where's the celebration on just like nailing it for your spiritual self? Where is that celebration? Are you having inward joys and backflipping and like, um, do you bake yourself a cake when you do when you see yourself achieve something in your spiritual growth? What do you do? Or do you have a bath? Do you take yourself to the bath house? Do you go and have a massage to solidify that? Maybe you go and make yourself something. Maybe you buy yourself something. What is it that you're doing to then congratulate yourself, making it an event, making it a rite of passage for yourself as you're stepping in to mark the moment, mark the day that you are expanding. We have all these other days that we mark endlessly. Sometimes I feel like my calendar is more filled with days of high-fiving myself that I do naturally be a mother or naturally do that. I'm not sure I need a high five on that day. I hope my children value me throughout the whole year rather than just on one day. Why do we have these moments that we're marking that have maybe lots of meaning or less meaning? And why you're not doing that for yourself in your spiritual growth? Or maybe you are. And if you are, high five to you. Well done. You're doing a good job, and keep moving forward. For those that are coming to that point, have a think. What are you going to do? Are you celebrating? I like to celebrate my spiritual expansion on a weekly basis. I like to have a bath once a week, or spend time with myself, or make sure that I have time for myself to do whatever it is that my needs require. So I'm filling my own cups, so that I'm filling my own needs, and then my family doesn't need to do that. And then whatever they do that is extra is just, it's just wonderful. I just feel such tingles and gratitude, and then I'm able to pass that gratitude on because I filled my cup, and now they're also filling my cup, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I'm having a great day. It completely changes my attitude on how to live my life. So how you commemorate your changes, and that's a good way to then reflect on how well you're doing, congratulate yourself, what resonates with you. With these sessions, it's just picking up what resonates with you, and that's very important. And not, you might need to listen a couple of times to work out what that actually is. And sometimes when we listen, we're not actually listening, we're just daydreaming, and then the points that we're supposed to hear are then highlighted to us throughout our daydreams, and that's also okay. It's also very important. Again, I'm not your guru, you're your guru. So if your internal voice is overlaying over top of mine with the points that you need to, with the positive aspect, with the points that you need to recall, remember, or that are prominent to you, fantastic. I'm excited by that. So excited for you. So stepping in, which is great, but also commemorating. How do you commemorate your spiritual growth? Are you doing that? A lot of people talk about the ritual. That's why they talk about having that daily or weekly or monthly or whatever that ritual is, and whatever that time frame is that benefits your needs, and make sure that your cup is full, so that you are able to receive gratitude from others when it comes your way, rather than it's necessary, or that has to be done, or because if your conditioning is that you receive everything from the outside, then you're living with a mask. because we can only fully do that for ourselves. And then when we receive it from others, have that fulfillment, that heart expansion when it truly comes, all that body tingles when it comes from someone. And then you're also sitting in your humility and you're humble, because when you truly receive that love and kindness, because you already filled your cup, and then whatever you're receiving from others is like extra, it's a benefit. It's like, oh, I feel so much extra love and support. You're sitting in your most humble because you're sorting yourself out, and then you are humbly receiving what people have to give. You're not living off it. You don't need it. You don't need it to survive. You don't need it to feel good. You don't need it to feel loved. You don't need it to feel supported. You're simply receiving it as an extra to all of the things that you are doing for yourself. I am going to address this last point. I sort of hear almost people saying, well, if other people aren't there to help you, then why are they there? Like, what's the purpose of this whole situation? And the purpose of this whole situation, this outcome, is that we are here to expand for ourselves, but we also have contracts and agreements with others that help with our expansion and our movement forward. I am a parent. I am a parent in this matrix, but realistically, I see myself as a caretaker. I'm not a pet owner. I'm a pet caretaker. We have cats, and the cats are with us, and I put up my hand to take care of them, just like I put up my hand to have children. And therefore I am the caretaker of the children for this current life, in this moment, for this time. And there are certain responsibilities that come with that caretaking, as there are certain responsibilities that come with your own caretaking. And then you either have agreements or responsibilities to care for others or be there for others. And those are done through ceremonies, rituals, or simply making those agreements and having children. I mean, once you birth a child, or once you agree to take care of a child in any way, shape, or form, you don't need to birth a child to be the caretaker of a child, or a pet. Obviously, we can't birth a pet. That would be really weird. Sorry, my mind goes in interesting places sometimes, and that's okay too. I'm good with it. I'm sure lots of people resonate the same way, and that's why there's a certain collective consciousness to our thought patterns and to our belief systems. And which collective consciousness do you want to be part of? Because there are all aspects of the many. Just like we are part of the universal one, yet we are a complete individual, and offshoots of our individual and circles of our energy and our belief systems attract other people that are also sitting in that energy. And that's why you lose some people, or some people move on to, they want to stay in that same energy, so they must move on and find friends within that same energy or aspect. If you're changing or you're transitioning, and that's also okay. So making sure that you have gratitude, making sure that you have a sense of peace. What are your deep programs? As I said, my deep programs are, I wish to communicate and self to self initially, and then self to others with peace, with peaceful intent. I don't always nail that. I don't always nail it for myself, and I don't always nail it for others, but that is my intention. That is my deep belief system. How do I want to act to myself as I move forward through life? I want to act to myself. I want to be kind to myself, deeply kind to myself, and therefore I am kind to others. Again, not always nailing it. Far from perfect. We are all far from perfect. If I was perfect, I wouldn't need to incarnate here. I would simply be an off-earth guide. I wouldn't need to be here. I'm here because I'm still working on it, just like everybody else. And that's why it's important to learn to be your own guru and not to see someone else as your guru, because no one measures up to who you are. No one measures up to who you want them to be, or who you are. When you compare, just like if you were all offloading your problems, you would still take home your own problems. You would still pick up your own problems at the end of the day. You wouldn't pick up someone else's, even though it seems easier to help someone else. If they were actually your problems and not the other person's problems, it would be tricky. It would be harder to, run through the ball like it seems to be when you're, in a relationship or whatnot. Oh, I'll just sort out them before I sort out myself. So again, that's coming to your belief system. It's easier to sort out other people's problems than it is to work on my own. And so I'm going to sit in avoidance for myself, and which will be represented in a lot of aspects in your life that you're avoiding. And then taking that deep look at the self, the discovery of the self, the backing of the self, finding your true authenticity, and the deepest, deepest, deepest version of self-acceptance and self-love is the most rewarding pathway that you will ever walk down in your entire existence. So hopefully you will step into this, join me in my own adventure here, and I fully encourage and support you, and am here to give you as much information and tools and knowledge that I can, that you may resonate with, for you to step into this pathway for yourself. So thank you for today. I know it was a bit of a long one. So good job for sticking with it, and good job stepping forward. And I wish you all the best of luck. If you have any questions or concern, feel free to send us a message through either Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, then head to our website at tongueandtonic.com.au and send us a message or inquiry through that aspect, and we will receive it. We encourage or request that you don't send us a message from every single platform that we are on, because it just gets confusing, and I prefer to be kind to myself. And so I'm requesting that communication either comes through Instagram, the website, or alternatively come into the store. So we're at 474 Glen Huntly Road in Elstonwick. Send us a message or drop us an Instagram. Thank you so much. Good on you for listening, and good on you for stepping into being your own guru, your own self-support system. See you next time.